What do you think? Any comments?
Yeah, very good.
The movie, very simple. Quite a profound message, isn't it?
Very much so.
What did you get out of it, Tebogo?
I've got a lot. Really.
Yeah.
Yes, I've really enjoyed it. It's beautiful.
Don't get too comfortable. Always anticipate change.
And adapt to change as quick as possible.
Adapt to change as quick as possible. Yeah. Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Just think. They keep
yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I also like the one concept where they said when you move beyond your fear, you feel free. That was good.
That's quite a focusing question, the one that comes before that, isn't it? What would I do if I weren't afraid at this point? What would I do if I weren't afraid? You know,
that's me.
I have the privilege of talking about this stuff just about every month, you know, to different people. It always seems to be different to me. It's always fresh. It's always there's a different receptivity, different responses. But I talk about this stuff, and then guess who gets challenged? Hey, I do. When I talk
yourself,
about Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, oh boy, I say it, and then I think, eish, you know, last week when that thing happened, I was totally reactive. They pressed my buttons and I got depressed. I started feeling fearful. You know, and it's good to hold oneself accountable. You know, you don't want to grit your teeth and sort of say, I'm going to do this even if it kills me, because it probably will kill you. But at least you hold yourself accountable. You say, it's something I want in my life. I want to adapt to change quickly. I don't want to wait until the cheese is gone and then I'm starting to throw temper tantrums because somebody moved the cheese. My cheese gets moved all the time in what I do. People make promises, you know. People say, we will support you. We're going to put in an order. We're going to get our trainers trained. And you get all revved up and excited, and then they move the cheese. It doesn't happen. Government people make promises. I mean, some of you don't remember very well, Tebogo, 1994. I don't think you were very kind of aware of your surroundings and what was happening politically in 1994. But what was happening for me after 1994 was I was enthusiastic about the possibilities of having a government in place that would want ordinary people to be empowered. And there was a guy who was appointed to the Department of Trade and Industries called Alistair Raters, and he went around with a road show in 1995 and going into 1996. And he went right around the country consulting everybody. Oh boy, everybody had big meetings, consultations, subcommittees formed, feedback about how are we going to empower SMME people in this country, because we can't create enough jobs for people. We need to empower them to create jobs for themselves. So they took the whole of 1995, traveling around the country, having these meetings. And then guess what? 1996, they traveled around the country again, giving feedback to everybody about what other people had said in the meetings. And nothing happened. I kid you not, by the year 2000, now we're talking 6 years after 1994, almost no people had been empowered because of, as a consequence of government funding. The CETAs were starting to be formed. Every municipality in this country had an SMME budget. They were given lots of money in order to disperse that money so that small and medium businesses, micro businesses could be empowered. Every municipality had a budget of their own. Then there was regional government who had a budget for that. And then, of course, national government had the big budget. People wouldn't make decisions. People were too insecure to make decisions. Now, looking back, now that we know as much as we know about what has happened in the political realm and in the public sector, naturally a question is, was that money diverted somewhere else? You know, maybe it was, don't know. But all I know is that by the year 2000, nobody, there was not any record of any money having been allocated to micro and small business empowerment. Nothing, even though every year there were these big budgets that they weren't spent, they were not reported on, nothing happened. So there was the vision, there was the cheese waiting for all of us, and of course they moved the cheese. It just didn't happen. So now you've got to just buckle down. So in the year 2000, when I started all over again, my little sad story, we actually just decided that, look, if what we've got is worthwhile, then it's got to pay for itself. If we sit around waiting for funding, especially from government, it's never going to happen. So we made Trident into a proprietary limited company and said, if this is worthwhile and if this is what God wants for us, then we will find a way to be sustainable. So we sell our service. We don't just give it away. What can I say? That was a consequence of the cheese kind of moving. Jane Naidoo was the minister in the presidency with Nelson Mandela. Jane Naidoo stood up in Parliament one day and he made a very important speech. And what he did was he said to the overseas donors, to the Dutch government, the German government, the Danish government, the British government, he said, listen, would you people give the money to us in government and we will disperse it to the NGOs? It'll be more efficient. It will be more efficient. Instead of you funding the people who do the training, give the money to us. We will do, and I everything I know about Jane Naidoo and that initial government that was formed says he probably believed what he was saying. But what he wasn't was a public servant. He was a new politician. He was a struggle veteran. He had all sorts of good credentials, but he did not understand how the public service doesn't work. Almost said how the public service works, but you know, he did not understand that. And so, yes, the overseas people, I mean, if Nelson Mandela's government is saying, give us the money, it must be a good thing to do. So they gave the money to the government to disperse. Cheese, no more cheese. Yeah. I'll say the one thing that I have learned that God is faithful and that he has created the world in such a way that there is this wonderful synchronicity that at the right time, things happen. And I've discovered things happen more when people pray than when people don't pray. So I'm not embarrassed at all, not ashamed at all to say to you, please, when you are reminded about me and about us, would you agree with us? Because if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything, it will be done, you see. There is the power of agreement, the power of words, the bringing about of synchronicity happens when people agree about things. And if you will please pray for Micro-MBA. We need income, we need blessing, we need to find the right outlets. Even today, you know, things go up and down and up and down, and COVID is down as far as income is concerned. We've had an order since then. That's nice. We've had you good people here, and that's wonderful. But I'm asking you, without embarrassment, you know, when you're reminded, I'm not asking for some big commitment that you can't keep, but when you're reminded, please pray for God to open doors and to bless what we do. so that we can make a difference, so that people can be empowered. Really want to see that happening. I want to leave a good legacy.